All right, folks, joining us now is Daniel Henninger, Deputy Editorial Page Director of the Wall Street Journal and Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter. Daniel, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, the whole deal.
Same to you on all of that, Steve.
Yes. All right, look, we're in deep doo-doo here because and there are two issues here. The blackmail. To hear people like Mika Brzezinski and others say, well, you know, how many people would have been hurt if they showed this movie? I mean, what if tomorrow ISIS says, you sing the national anthem at ball games anymore, and we're going to mow people down in the stands? I mean, or as they're coming out of the stadium. I mean, so we're going to stop that too? But the other issue also is, if they could do this, as Homeland Security would probably tell you, and the government would tell you, they could take down our grid tomorrow. And I think they will.
They being the North Koreans?
Them and whoever else they're playing with, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous situation, at least in terms of taking down our cyber infrastructure. I agree with you about the cravenness of Sony in this instance. I mean, the analogies are endless, and life goes on. So, you know, Hollywood is not exactly draping itself in glory at the moment. As to the cyber attack, I mean, you know, this technology is inherently vulnerable. The internet was built years ago, and the idea was that it would be open architecture and available to everybody. And it was, the interesting analogy is it's kind of like unilateral disarmament from day one. And now over the years, as it's become more complex, they've tried to erect security around it. But there are so many holes in the internet and in the web and in the routes into our computers, whether it's just one of us sitting at our desk or the entire tech infrastructure of a Sony, a Target, or the U.S. government. It's all vulnerable. And there's the amazing thing at this point, Steve, is that at this late day, so many companies and so many individuals literally open themselves to these vulnerabilities rather than taking the steps necessary to protect themselves.
And I fear the government is one of those entities as well, because I just saw a report that between 2010 and 2013, there's been a 35% jump in attacks against, you know, government-related agencies as well.
Yeah, well, experts in cybersecurity will tell you, awful as Sony was, and the 100 terabytes is a mind-boggling amount of data that they allowed to get out of that place. But the experts will tell you this is going on 24/7. It's going on all the time. Somebody somewhere is getting hacked. But you know, the more serious question that you just raised a moment ago, Steve, is what about attacks from North Korea and China and Russia? And, you know, you hate to say it, but you kind of come around to the conclusion that the United States has to be willing to go on counter-offense, which is to say either threaten to do the same to them or, in fact, start doing the same to some of them. Otherwise, they are not going to stop. It's a hard thing to say, but it is difficult to see an alternative to the United States defending itself by fighting back against the systems run by these governments.
I couldn't agree with you more. And you know, now that the FBI has confirmed it's North Korea, I'm just afraid that you know, ratcheting up some kind of sanction program is only going to encourage them or motivate them to do more cyber hacking to us. So I don't think that's the answer. I agree with you. All right, let's talk about your great piece, The New Stupid Party. That you wrote in the Journal, and you know, talking about how Senator Warren, you know, is involved now, and what do we have, Dumb and Dumber, as you put it?
Yeah, the two parties. The Republicans used to always be called the Stupid Party, but the way things are going, I think the new champ is the Democratic Party. They're the new stupid party, and you know, the way I define this, Steve, is really pretty simple. We're talking about politics, and you know, we all sit here talking about this stuff all day long, but basically what are we talking about? We're talking about winning elections. We're talking about getting more people to vote for your side than the other side. Votes. And if your party is doing stuff that drives voters away from your party towards the other one, you're going to lose. And in the midterm elections, the Democrats lost from top to bottom, one of the biggest wipeouts in American political history. So, in the wake of that, the most famous person emerging in the Democratic Party is Elizabeth Warren, freshman senator from Massachusetts, former Harvard Law School professor, whose specialty is going around giving speeches attacking corporations. Well, don't most people in America work for corporations? Isn't that where they make their living and their families and their relatives?
And that's just one example. It's a great column. Everybody check it out at WSJ.com, The New Stupid Party by Daniel Henninger. Hey, Daniel, thanks for all you do for us on the show. Appreciate it. We'll speak to you very soon. Have a great holiday.
All right, same to you.
Take care. All right, folks. Coming up next, Dana Milbank of the Washington Post. But first, let's take a look back at the sinking of a great ship on April 15th, 1912. And that's today's American Place report.